So you're all super stoked because your frame manufacturer gives you a lifetime supply of free bearings. But you have no idea how to take the old ones out or put the new ones in. I've got you covered. There's virtually no information online about exactly what you need to do this project. If you email the manufacturer or some of the online stores, they'll send you links to these really expensive bearing drifts and extractors. But for me, doing the job on my 2020 Santa Cruz Hightower, I've been able to get it done with this blind hole puller and a cheap $8 Harbor Freight bearing press. So I picked up this blind hole puller. It's an off-brand from eBay for about $35. This essentially is the kit that you're gonna need to extract the bearing. It's in two pieces. You use this piece to go into the bearing, and then this end piece sort of fans out to be able to grasp the inside of the bearing. This piece then screws into the slide hammer. You hold on to whatever's got the bearing, and then you slide the slide and it jerks the bearing out. It's as simple as that. So here you can see the upper link for the Santa Cruz Hightower, and this is the same link that's on several models, including the Bronson. And you can see how on these lower bearings, there's no way to access the inner surface of the bearing. I'll show you with a new bearing just so you can see the concept. Select one of these that actually just fits into the inner diameter of the bearing, and then you'll take this piece and it'll start to thread up onto these threads. And you want to have this piece to where it's just coming to the inner surface of the bearing. And so you can just start to get it snug. Then you can take a wrench and you can go a little bit tighter with it so that it's nice and snug. And then from there, you would take the slide hammer and pull it off. Again, take your black piece, just slide it just past the inside inner diameter of the bearing. Get it hand tight. Once you feel it getting snug, then you can take your wrench. You can then oppose that with a set of pliers or another wrench just until it gets snug. You don't want to go overkill with it or actually make it harder to pull out. You want to then screw this in the slide hammer. And you can see now how we've got a nice purchase on there. And you can just take about 3 pulls is all it took. You can see how that brought the bearing with it, and then we're ready to put the new one in. Now, if you're like me and you're doing this on a Santa Cruz, there is this little inner piece. They just simply call this a spacer. They actually send you a new one of these with the new kit, so you want to discard this one, clean this out, re-grease it, get it ready for the new one. Now, just as a quick side note, you can see how this one started to rust. You can't hear it and feel it as much with it off the bike, but with a little bit of tension, this is definitely starting to feel gritty, and this is actually after a solid year of hard use. These have held up really well. I'm just starting to get the feeling that it's due replacement, because when I push in, you can definitely feel a little bit of grittiness on there. So for these upper bearings, I had to scale down to a smaller diameter puller. You want to just be sure that you don't get your skin caught as you're pulling this. If you get your skin caught in there, you're gonna cry yourself to sleep. And it's worth noting, this upper one for me took considerable more effort. I actually went to grab a set of gloves just to kind of mitigate the vibration that was coming through this puller. So there you have it, an upper link, bearing free. We're gonna clean this up, throw the new ones in. So to throw the new bearings back in, I'm gonna cake the bearing surface liberally. I do not want these bearings wearing out premature, and I do not want noise. I want to just get that started as level as possible by hand. Now, I've taken a little piece of PVC, cut it down to fit between here, so that when we go to press the bearing in, that it's not trying to compress that U shape in the upper link. Here I'm going to take my cheap Harbor Freight bearing press. We're going to insert just like so. I'm taking a socket that fits just onto that outer metal surface of the new bearing, and then we're going to press that bearing in. Now I'm going to grease up the bottom, including the inner diameter. So that is where this new piece goes in. Be sure to grease this baby up really good. Don't want that causing any noise whatsoever. Now got the bearing on the lower side of the upper link. We've got a socket that will come just to the outer diameter of that bearing, as you can see there. All right, so there is an upper link with 4 new bearings. It's actually a pretty simple job, especially if you pick up one of these cheap blind hole pullers on eBay and get yourself one of these super cheap Harbor Freight bearing presses. You might even go up a step and get one of the $30 just generic Wills manufacturing bearing presses just to make it that much easier. This is gonna work much the same on the lower link. I'm not gonna do mine because I just recently installed the Cascade Components aftermarket lower link. You definitely want to check out my review for that if you have one of the Santa Cruz bikes, transition bikes, or otherwise that have an option for the Cascade link upgrade. Hopefully you found this service video helpful. Please consider subscribing to the channel. As always, thanks for watching.